For years, flying through Britain meant reliability, efficiency, and global connectivity. But today, something is clearly changing. Major airports are overwhelmed. Flagship airlines are struggling. Flights are delayed, routes are quietly cut, and passengers are paying the price. This isn't just about bad weather or summer travel chaos. It's about structural limits, aging fleets, engine problems, and political decisions that are reshaping British passenger aviation in real time. So the real question is no longer what went wrong, it's whether the UK can still compete in a world where aviation is moving faster than ever. For decades, Heathrow Airport has been one of the most important airports on the planet. It's the main gateway between North America and Europe, a critical transit point for Asia and the Middle East, and the backbone of Britain's passenger aviation system. But today, Heathrow's biggest strength has become its biggest weakness. The airport operates with just 2 runways, handling more passengers than many global hubs that have 3, 4, or even 5. In good conditions, the system works, barely. In bad conditions, it unravels fast. Even a minor disruption, weather delays, air traffic control restrictions, or a staffing shortfall can cascade into hours of delays across the entire network. Flights miss their slots, aircraft are stuck on the ground, crews run out of legal duty time, and passengers are left waiting, often with little information. For American travelers, this is especially visible. Many US-Europe itineraries rely on Heathrow as a connection point. When congestion hits London, it doesn't just affect the UK, it ripples across the Atlantic, causing missed connections in New York, Chicago, Atlanta, and Los Angeles. Heathrow's challenges are not new, but they are getting worse. Plans for a 3rd runway have been debated for years, blocked by political resistance, environmental concerns, and legal battles. While other global hubs expanded aggressively, Heathrow remained frozen in place, trying to squeeze more traffic out of infrastructure designed for a different era. The result is an airport operating at the absolute edge of its capacity, with no buffer. Add post-pandemic realities to the mix: tighter labor markets, more cautious airline scheduling, and rising operational costs, and the system becomes even more fragile. Airlines are now forced to pad schedules, reduce frequencies, or cancel flights outright to avoid total gridlock. This isn't a story of mismanagement alone. It's a structural limitation. Heathrow is still one of the world's most important airports, but importance doesn't equal resilience. In today's aviation landscape, flexibility and redundancy matter more than prestige. And right now, Britain's main aviation hub has neither. As global air travel continues to grow, the question isn't whether Heathrow can handle today's demand. It's whether it can survive tomorrow's. At the heart of Britain's passenger aviation system sits British Airways, a brand once synonymous with reliability, global reach, and premium long-haul travel. For decades, British Airways was the airline many American travelers trusted when flying to Europe. It dominated transatlantic routes, offered consistent service, and acted as a bridge between the US and the rest of the world. But in recent years, that image has been steadily eroding. Today, British Airways faces mounting pressure on multiple fronts. Passengers report frequent delays, last-minute cancellations, and inconsistent onboard service. While some of these issues are shared across the global airline industry, BA's problems feel more persistent and more visible because of its central role at Heathrow. One of the core challenges is fleet complexity and age. British Airways operates a wide mix of aircraft types, including older Boeing 777s and Airbus A320 family jets, alongside newer Airbus A350s and Boeing 787s. Maintaining this mixed fleet increases costs, complicates crew scheduling, and makes the airline more vulnerable when aircraft are unexpectedly grounded. For US routes, the impact is direct. British Airways serves major American cities like New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Miami, Boston, and Dallas. When just a handful of long-haul aircraft are taken out of service, frequencies are cut, flights are consolidated, or passengers are rebooked onto already crowded alternatives. Another issue is operational resilience, or the lack of it. Because Heathrow operates at near maximum capacity, British Airways has very little flexibility when things go wrong. A delayed inbound aircraft can throw off an entire day's schedule. Crew duty limits are quickly reached, spare aircraft are scarce, and recovery becomes slow and expensive. Customer frustration has grown as a result. While fares remain high, especially on transatlantic routes, the reliability passengers expect at those price points is no longer guaranteed. From a business perspective, this creates a dangerous imbalance. premium pricing without premium consistency. British Airways is not standing still. The airline continues to invest in new cabins, digital upgrades, and selective fleet renewal. But these improvements take time, and they are unfolding inside a system that is already stretched thin. The larger concern is strategic. In a world where Middle Eastern and European competitors are expanding aggressively, British Airways is increasingly playing defense rather than offense. Instead of launching bold new routes, the focus has shifted to protecting existing ones. For an airline that wants to find global connectivity, that shift speaks volumes. And for passengers, it raises a simple question: is British Airways still leading, or merely trying to keep up? One of the least visible, yet most damaging, problems facing British passenger aviation today isn't happening at the airport or in the cabin. It's happening inside the engines. British aerospace icon Rolls-Royce supplies engines for many of the wide-body aircraft used by UK airlines, especially on long-haul routes. These engines are technologically advanced, fuel-efficient, and powerful, but they've also introduced a new level of operational risk. Over the past year, airlines across Europe have been forced to ground aircraft due to accelerated engine inspections and unexpected maintenance requirements. For British carriers, this has had an outsized impact. Why? Because long-haul fleets are small and tightly scheduled. When a single wide-body aircraft is taken out of service, it doesn't just cancel one flight. It disrupts rotations across multiple continents. Aircraft meant to fly London-New York today may have been scheduled for London-Asia tomorrow. Once that chain breaks, airlines scramble to recover. Passengers usually hear vague explanations: technical issues, maintenance requirements, operational constraints. But behind those phrases is a simple reality: fewer working aircraft than planned. This problem hits the UK particularly hard because British Airlines already operate with minimal spare capacity. Heathrow's congestion means airlines can't easily add recovery flights. Leasing replacement aircraft is expensive and limited. And moving aircraft between bases is far more complex than it sounds. For American travelers, the result is increasingly familiar: sudden aircraft swaps, downgraded cabins, delayed departures, or full cancellations with limited rebooking options. Importantly, this is not a safety crisis. These inspections are precautionary, and aviation safety standards remain extremely high. But safety-driven maintenance still has real-world consequences when fleets are stretched thin. There's also a strategic angle. Next-generation engines were supposed to reduce costs and emissions. Instead, airlines are now absorbing higher maintenance expenses, lost revenue from grounded planes, and compensation payouts to passengers. That pressure eventually flows downstream, into ticket prices. As costs rise, airlines have two options: raise fares or reduce service frequency. In the UK, we're seeing both. This engine situation exposes a deeper vulnerability in British aviation: a lack of redundancy. When everything works perfectly, the system functions. When it doesn't, there's very little slack to absorb shocks. And in a global aviation market increasingly defined by resilience and scale, that lack of buffer is becoming a serious competitive disadvantage. The delays passengers see today aren't random. They're mechanical, structural, and increasingly unavoidable. While British passenger aviation struggles with congestion, capacity limits, and operational fragility, the rest of the aviation world is moving in a very different direction. Across Europe and the Middle East, airports and airlines are expanding, fast. Major hubs like Paris, Madrid, and Istanbul have invested heavily in new runways, terminals, and air traffic systems. These airports were designed with growth in mind, allowing airlines to add flights, recover quickly from disruptions, and scale operations without pushing the entire system to the edge. In contrast, the UK remains locked in debate. Expansion projects are delayed by political opposition, environmental lawsuits, and regulatory uncertainty. While sustainability concerns are valid, the lack of long-term clarity has created paralysis. Airlines cannot plan confidently when infrastructure decisions are perpetually under review. The result is predictable: growth flows elsewhere. Nowhere is this more visible than in the Middle East. Gulf carriers have built aviation ecosystems designed around efficiency, redundancy, and non-stop connectivity. Their hubs operate with multiple runways, flexible night operations, and aggressive fleet expansion. For global travelers, including Americans, this changes routing behavior. Instead of flying through London, more passengers are connecting through the Middle East or mainland Europe. where schedules are more reliable and recovery options are stronger. Brexit has quietly amplified this shift. The UK's exit from the European Union introduced new layers of complexity: labor mobility restrictions, regulatory divergence, and higher administrative costs for airlines operating across borders. While none of these factors alone is fatal, together they reduce the UK's attractiveness as a growth market. Airlines respond rationally. When faced with higher costs and tighter constraints in Britain, they deploy new aircraft elsewhere. New long-haul routes that might once have launched from London now appear in Paris, Madrid, or Istanbul instead. This isn't about Britain being bad at aviation, it's about opportunity cost. In a capital-intensive industry, airlines chase environments where infrastructure, policy, and demand align. Right now, the UK offers demand, but not enough flexibility to fully capture it. Over time, that matters. As more traffic bypasses British hubs, network effects kick in. Fewer connections make the hub less attractive, fewer routes reduce competitiveness, and rebuilding lost relevance becomes extremely difficult. British aviation isn't being pushed out overnight, it's being slowly outpaced. And in global aviation, falling behind by even a few years can reshape travel patterns for decades to come. British passenger aviation is not collapsing, but it is standing at a critical crossroads. The UK still has world-class airlines, global demand, and one of the most strategically located aviation markets on Earth. But what it lacks right now is margin for error. Infrastructure is maxed out. Fleets are stretched thin, and competitors are moving faster, building capacity while Britain debates limits. For passengers, especially those flying from the United States, this means a new reality: fewer backup options, tighter schedules, and a system where small disruptions can quickly become major delays. The big question is whether the UK chooses adaptation or stagnation. Investment, modernization, and clear long-term policy could stabilize British aviation and restore its competitive edge. But without decisive action, the gradual shift of traffic to other global hubs will continue, quietly, steadily, and permanently. This isn't a story about failure, it's a story about urgency. If you want clear, fact-based aviation analysis without hype, breaking down airports, airlines, engines, and global strategy, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and turn on notifications. And tell us in the comments, which country's aviation industry should we analyze next?